Hey guys, it's Kimberly. Welcome back to the channel. So I just wanted to bring you like an audio message that is something that I feel like is coming up in the collective right now. I keep seeing it with people I know, my clients, my students, and it's coming up in repeat, and I feel like it's something that I should point out and we should discuss a little bit. So the biggest theme that I've been seeing is essentially around not communicating our truth fully. So when you are holding your truth back, sometimes this happens and we disguise the fact that we're holding things in. So we'll say, I'm over that, or I took the higher road and I didn't really need to confront that, or that person isn't as spiritual, so I'm just not going to say anything to them because they wouldn't understand it anyhow. And we do this a lot in spirituality, a lot. And sometimes it's definitely needed, right? Like taking the higher road and not. But I think that when we speak our truth, it's never really for the other person, it's for you. And when we don't speak our truth, and we, like I said, we tend to do this in spirituality. Like we say like, oh, like I know I'm a bigger person, or I know that, what I would say to this person wouldn't matter or whatever. Then we tend to get things trapped inside of us. And I think that at this time, like whatever's going on cosmically, whatever's going on with these shifts that we're feeling, we are being asked to address what might be trapped inside of us. So that's first. So firstly, the first question I have for you to think about or contemplate is, what is unexpressed that is needing or wanting to be expressed from within me? This could be surfacing or manifesting as, expression that you're feeling in dream states. It could be anger that comes through in your everyday. It could be sadness that's under the surface. Usually there's some sort of a trapped emotion in there. And because it's unexpressed, it could make you, often unexpressed emotions also make us tired or exhausted. So that could be another component or signal for you. So if you have unexpressed emotions, words, thoughts, emotions all go in tandem, then that's kind of trapped within you. So now I know some of you do journal, and that's a really great tool, right? To journal out your feelings. But lately I've been giving advice to my clients, and it's like over and over and over and over again. Like the same advice keeps coming out of my mouth, and I know not everyone's situation is the same. So I don't feel like anyone's situation is a blanket situation, like where we're all the same. Like, hey, I'm going to give you the same advice. But intuitively, I've been giving out a lot of like similar guidance, and whenever that starts to happen, it's like this clue to me that this is a theme or pattern in the collective that maybe everybody could benefit from. But one of the things that I keep being shown or keep hearing in like different ways for different people, but overall it's the same message, is that there is unexpressed anger and it needs to come out. It doesn't mean you need to call up the person that you're angry with, but I definitely feel like having an outlet for your anger is really, really important. Remember that anger is powerlessness. So it's like it comes from a time in which we felt powerless, which we felt like our power was ripped from us or we were not in control, or it comes from the fear of feeling powerless again in the future. So that's what anger is. Now, feeling angry is healthy. It's normal. It helps us sometimes move the needle, the emotional needle from within, which is good, right? Because it can bring you from like a doormat state, or a real passive state into like a state in which you're moving the energy. Now, the problem is when we act on anger outwardly. So when you act on anger outwardly, whether you lash out at someone or you get violent or there's vengeance or whatever, that can become a real issue, right? So most of us in the spiritual realm even if you have a trigger or whatnot, like we stuff our anger down. So at this time, I feel like the guides spirit is asking us to find an outlet for that anger. So it might mean different things for different people. You might be going out in the woods or going out in your backyard and just screaming at the top of your lungs. It might be that you are beating up a pillow. It might be that you're just having your angry conversations out loud, the ones that stir in your mind or are trapped there in your body. And I do feel like these are directed towards specific people. Like I said, I don't necessarily feel like you need to call them up and lash out at them, right? Like we probably don't want to do that. And I'm going to address in the second half of this video, I'm going to address how you can address them if that's something that you want to do. But in terms of expressing the anger, one of my clients, we were laughing too, because I also got that she needed to embrace her dark side. And she was realizing that there was this unexpressed anger, sort of always living in the light, always being optimistic, always taking the higher road. But yeah, there's things lurking under the surface. And I just kept getting these pictures like, like there was some goth, dark, shadowy side of her that wanted to come out. So she's working on that, right? Like whether that's, incorporating it into a Halloween character, or if that's just like I said, screaming into a pillow, or, it's just like it's being called for us to embrace in some way and to integrate that darkness, because when it's lurking or trapped under the surface, like I said, it causes physical symptoms, it causes frustration, the anger. We also run the risk that the anger or the reaction can sneak up on us. So for example, if you're walking around with things that are trapped that you're unaware of, and you might like maintain a very calm demeanor all the time, but because something's under the surface and you're not even aware of it, you might get triggered and then all of a sudden have like a really out of the norm reaction, and it might even take you by surprise. And that's because, those are the things that were lurking. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we address what's under the surface, find an outlet for it, no matter what that is. So it could be writing. For a lot of you, though, I don't feel like the writing is enough. I feel like writing is a very calm and therapeutic way to process our emotions. And for a lot of you, what I'm being shown is like, it's not that calm. Like, there's almost like physical aggression and yelling, and that needs to come out of you, and it's okay. So this is your permission slip to do that in a healthy way. With yourself, in nature, behind closed doors, or however that needs to be expressed. Give yourself permission to do it, because I guarantee you're going to feel better after you do. So secondly, those who have done wrong to us and or those who we are harboring the resentments with or harboring the anger with, those who have ripped our power, we feel powerless with or have felt powerless against in the past, those who have done wrong unto us, how do you express them in a healthy balance and with a healthy boundary? So this is the other half of this video, and I believe that the collective is being asked to address those that it feels right to you with. And I feel like by you doing this is a big stand into your power. So again, it would serve you well to get the anger out behind the scenes, so that when you address this person or these people or these situations, you can do it in a healthy balance, speaking your truth. So I teach about what constitutes a healthy boundary in my online courses. You guys can go to vibup.com. Like if you look at level 2, there's a Boundaries 101 course. I teach a lot of this, but just quick overview is, first, you must know why you're out of your power in the first place. So what about it in your morals, values, or your worth, what you desire, deserve, how you deserve to be treated, were you not lining up with? Where were you not walking in line with your own integrity that enabled another person to treat you wrong? So that's important first. Like, where can you line up better with your morals, values, and your worth? and maybe look and see like where you were out of alignment in that scenario, because inevitably there will be a piece of that you can take the responsibility for and see, so that you can line up with your truth. So I would say define your truth. What are your morals? What are your values? What is your worth? How do you deserve to be treated? Do you treat yourself that way? Have you been acting in alignment with that integrity? If not, there's a huge answer to the puzzle piece. So from that place, then you can look at where the violation occurred. Well, what got violated? What went against how you wanted to be treated, or what your morals or values were? And then how can you speak your truth now in a place of alignment with your morals, values, and worth? How can you speak your truth? So, for example, say someone, I'm just going to take a sip of tea, you guys. Hold on one second. Okay, so say somebody talked behind your back. That's the first example that's coming to my mind. And you found out, and you knew this person was sort of gossipy, but yet still when you found out, it felt like a betrayal. And so you go back to the drawing board and you're like, okay, what is my truth? My truth is like, I believe in loyalty and friendships. I am a loyal friend. I deserve, my worth is I deserve reciprocity in a friendship or relationship. I deserve mutual respect. I deserve loyalty. I'm worthy of loyalty and truth and honesty. So you might now at this time really feel angry that this person, like, you might have been harboring that anger for months or years or whatever. You might feel really angry that this person did this to you. So go stab your pillow and scream out in the woods and do all that behind the scenes. But if you're wanting to bring this to light, which I feel like a lot of us need to, this is a time where I feel like the collective is reaching that alignment that I was talking about in yesterday's video, where we can actually step forth and communicate healthy boundaries in a better way. So what would it sound like in that scenario? You'd probably come forth and say, hey, so-and-so. And whether you do this written or text or in person or on the phone, like however it is that you want to communicate your healthy boundary. Again, it's for you. It's not for the other person. So again, if you're doing it to extract something from the other person, if you're doing it for an apology, if you're doing it for any reason, then for yourself, it's probably not in alignment. So in this scenario, you'd probably say something like, hey, so-and-so, hi, so-and-so, that thing that happened in the past where you XYZ talked about me behind my back and I found out, I just want you to know that I've been sitting with that, thinking about it, and I really do deserve, loyalty and reciprocity, mutual respect in a friendship. I feel like I gave you that, and it really hurt me that I was treated that way. And I just want you to know that. And as I move forward, you might say like, thank you, because now this has shaped the way I choose friends in the future. Or you might say something like, as I move forward, I've really learned from this experience. And, you can say whatever you want, but again, like when you're saying your boundary, it's not in the vein of anger, because your boundary should never be set from a powerless standpoint. A healthy boundary is always set from our power. So in that, there wouldn't be an expression of anger. Does that make sense? Where we err in setting boundaries and where we usually all suck is when we set our boundaries from a trigger point in which we're totally out of our power. Then our boundaries become an expression of imbalanced masculine and feminine energy. So they might sound like a lashing out, a threat. They might sound like not strong enough, right? Where we're a doormat, subdued feminine energy. It could be overly aggressive masculine energy. That's not a boundary. That's not going to work for you. It's not going to really be effective. It's not going to stay in place. It's a threat. Or it's not strong enough. It's not from a place of power. A healthy boundary is you say it from a place of love for yourself. You say it from a place of love for the other. It is strong. It is assertive. It does, because it adheres to your morals, values, and your worth. That's all. And it sets an energetic precedence. So it'll say, I'm not going to go down that road again because XYZ, or I'm not going to leave the opportunity for this door to be open because XYZ. It's not in alignment for me. Or sometimes a healthy boundary will leave the opportunity for the other person to rise up and meet you. For example, like if you're setting a boundary with your kids or your spouse or your lover, twin flame, You might say, look, I don't deserve to be talked to that way, so I'm going to walk away right now. And then you have to energetically walk away. And then you can say, when you're ready to talk to me politely or calmly or whatever, then you can come back in my energy field and I'll have this conversation with you. That gives the other person the chance to rise up and meet you at that boundary that you're setting. Now, someone who continually disobeys your boundaries, doesn't respect you, even when you feel like you're setting them in a place of power, don't forget, those people are not the people you want in your lives. And it's probably a reflection for you too. Like, usually I found that if you're really in your power, people will obey and people will respect you in your boundaries. So, there's exceptions, especially when we're dealing like with narcissistic types and all of that. But usually if you're in a narcissistic relationship of any sort, it's because you're not all the way in your power. So keep practicing this. Keep practicing setting boundaries from a place of power. Again, healthy boundary has an energetic resolution from the inside. You're aligned with it. You're in your power. You're speaking your truth as what corresponds to your morals, your values, and your worth. You're lining up with that. Then you're expressing your truth. You're saying it in a loving way towards yourself, and you're saying it with compassion towards the other person. It doesn't have to be angry. It is just simply the truth. And then you set an energetic boundary, and then you back it up in some way. So you have to back up that boundary. These things need to be expressed. So I'll give you an example from my own life. So I've had questions about my familial stuff is coming up a lot right now, like things in our bloodline, things in our DNA. This is coming up to be cleared, so it doesn't surprise me that it's coming up for me right now. But so a lot of our matriarchs and patriarchs in my family have died off, which is kind of sad, but that's the way it is. So it's, the younger generation, the cousins, the whatever, that kind of, and there just seems to be no glue. And I have a set of cousins who I really just feel like really, have not honored like tradition in my family and just kind of only care about themselves. And one cousin in particular, she comes in from out of town really in a like impromptu way often, or, I guess infrequently, maybe a couple times a year. And she always expects that, and she's been doing this for years and years and years, like even when the matriarchs and patriarchs were alive, she would do this, but it's become even worse now. But she comes into town and she'll call you. She'll be in town for 2 weeks. She won't tell anyone, and she'll wait till the last day of her trip. And she'll call you, and she'll start calling everyone frantically, wanting to see them. And she tells us at the last minute that she's in town, and she expects us to drop everything and see her within a day before she flies out. And she does it every single time. And because we're family and there's been this sort of, echelon of respect that's been embedded in us, I don't think we really have ever said anything to her that lets her know our truth. So sometimes in the past we've said no, definitely in recent years we say no more, but she does a good job at guilting everyone, and we then, sometimes try to make the effort, or she gets so relentless that she'll call and call and call and call and call until someone gives in to her, which is crazy. So as you guys know, what I'm going through with like cancer and everything, and I just sort of decided that I don't really care to have that contact with her or that side of the family. Like, I don't feel a mutual respect. I don't feel any support. I don't feel a familial bond. I don't feel that. And so it feels to me like I'm not angry. I'm just like, it's not in integrity or in alignment for me. So they don't know what's happening with my health and all of that. And that's fine. So, my cousin called me 2 days ago, and I didn't answer it. I didn't recognize the number. I got the message, and she was doing the same thing that she always does. And in that moment, it triggered me. It definitely did. I'm like, God damn, she doesn't even know what's going on. And she's so freaking selfish, and just feeling all those emotions. So I chose not to call her back. And I chose not to answer her because I was angry. And I knew if I said something, it wasn't going to come out nicely, right? So I'm sitting with that. But I do feel like it's time for me to express my truth with her. And so that might mean writing her an email or some sort of a calm expression of that truth. And I'm sitting with that right now and contemplating how I want to do that. But again, like, this isn't just up for me, it's up for so many people right now in the collective. And I just wanted to give you that example so you know I'm human too, and I go through it too. It might not necessarily pertain to your lover, spouse, twin flame. It might be someone that you're hashing things out with in a familial, relationship. And I really feel like the collective is coming into their power. So many of the divine feminine, divine masculine are honoring themselves. And that's what it's about. And setting a healthy boundary takes practice. And it takes a lot of inner alignment, inner workings, inner work before you're going to be able to do that. And it takes practice. It takes practice. It takes practice. It takes practice. So use this opportunity, because I almost feel like it's coming up for everyone in some way. And we're positioned in a better, just because a lot of you are more in alignment with your worth, and you're coming into that, and you're just doing a better job at everything. You've actually cleared out those toxic relationships, or you're clearing them out, or you've seen the mistakes of the past, or you've seen where you've been out of your power. That's the huge step to having the awareness, to being able to step into your power, to being able to practice setting the healthy boundaries. So this is an opportunity to practice, as I see. It's also an opportunity to get the unexpressed emotion out of your physical body. Don't forget that this is not just an emotional clearing when you let anger out. Like I said, screaming in the woods, thrashing at a pillow, whatever that is, jumping up and down, dancing, hitting, punching a punching bag, whatever that is that you're doing to let that out. You're letting it out of your pain body. You're letting it out of your mental body. You're letting it out of your emotional body. And you're letting it out of your physical body. So this is good for our health, okay? I've been a person who I've always, unfortunately, expressed my anger. Like, I don't have a problem expressing my anger. I've expressed it too much in an imbalanced way. Too many temper fits, too much lashing out, too much of it going through my physical body. So for me, it's a little bit different. I don't feel like I need to do those things. Most people never express it that way. Don't give themselves permissions. Don't give themselves permission to express it that way. So you need to do that. Like, that's going to be the healthy resolution for you. For me, I've been the opposite. I've always embodied it in my physical body. I've always let it come through me. It's probably, I know it's part of the reason why I am holding the cancer in my body. So for me, though, what I found is there's different things that can attune me to the same anger, that I can clear it in a different way. So, and I'm just sharing this just in case it helps anyone who might be like me. So one thing that I found is I don't want to lash out. I don't want to hit a pillow. I don't want to scream. I've done that my whole life. Okay. That's not cathartic for me in any way. It's just kind of like a repetition of a cycle. Whereas for some of you, that might be the best catharsis and the best way to handle it, right? You might feel like, oh my God, I needed to do this my whole life, or I've needed to do this for years. But for me, it doesn't feel effective. It feels like more of a imbalanced energy for myself. So I found that in doing a lot of breath and vocal work, that the oming that I was doing when I got into the lower chakras, like the vom and the loam and the like sacral and the root chakra, they were so low that it actually matched. It felt as good to me as like doing that screaming or doing that, release of the anger that I'm suggesting to you. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about when you go like this. That does it for me. That to me, it just clears it out of me. It's the same vibration, or holds the same tone as the anger for me personally. And if I do that loam sequence 10 times in a row, and then I walk through nature, I don't have any anger there anymore. So that's me personally. You guys might want to fool around with that. Try that. Especially, might show you too where you're holding the anger. Like I think I hold it in my lower chakras, and or connected to where I'm holding my traumas. So that's another tool. Okay. what else do I have to tell you or express? So I hope that that's helpful. Embrace your dark side. Let yourself have an outlet for the anger. Let it be more passive than perhaps just writing or journaling, although that can be a really great tool. Let it be more active, and then if you feel like there's things that have been unexpressed, because maybe you've bypassed them, you spiritually bypassed them. You've gone, well, I'm a bigger person, or I'm just going to take the higher road and not say anything. It might be time to say something, but in healthy expression. So work on that. And so if you guys want to work with me or check out any of my courses, coaching, I have group coaching on Wednesdays now. Just to remind you, you have to sign up online. Individual sessions, readings, you can check that all out on spiritualmaterialgirl.com. And don't forget, you can donate to my cancer cause. I'm going through a second round of fundraising right now, just so that I can get through the winter and continue my alternative treatments. I really appreciate your support and love, and I'll put all that information on the screen in front of you so you know where to go and what to do that. I love you guys. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you soon. Okay, take care. Bye.